Okay, so new bombshell details have been released regarding the fraud coming out of Minnesota. Number one, it's up to $8 billion. Number two, photos have been leaked showing how some of the criminals who have been indicted were taking photos with the governor and Ilhan Omar, and receipts show that they received campaign donations from these criminals. So we'll show you all of that in this video and much more, but make sure you like this video, share this video, leave a comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe. Let's start here.
All right, this news just breaking moments ago. Fox News has obtained photos of one of the Somali illegal immigrants wrapped up in the Minnesota fraud scandal, posing with several high-profile Minnesota Democrats, including Congresswoman Ilhan Omar and Governor Tim Walz. The man pictured is Abdul Dahir Ibrahim. He entered the country in 2000 and has had an order for removal since 2004. He also has a prior conviction in Canada for asylum and welfare fraud. ICE tells Fox News Ibrahim was granted temporary protected status for 10 years, but should have never been eligible. We are going to have more on this in our next hour.
So it's another day and another confirmation of the level of fraud, corruption that has been going on in the state of Minnesota. Just read the headline for yourself. Minnesota Democratic lawmakers received over $50,000 in campaign cash from feeding our future fraudsters. Yes, the people who have been indicted actually donated to these politicians and their campaigns. We'll go through the list right here in front of you, starting with the Attorney General himself. We showed you the actual audio tape that broke a couple days ago. Here it is right here. AG Keith Ellison, his councilman's son, Mayor Jacob Frey, Representative Ilhan Omar, and others received cash from the scammers who siphoned off some $250 million, largely through nonprofit Feeding Our Future. Many did so after meeting the crooks, raising questions about how much they knew. Of course they knew. They just looked the other way, right? And now what's interesting, they're finally doing something that they should have done a long time ago. They have paused the actual program so they can do a full audit. Listen to it for yourself.
Fraud investigators are finding in Minnesota is growing by the day. Kelly Loeffler, who leads the Small Business Administration, says in the 2 days her agency has been investigating the state, they've uncovered at least $1 million in PPP fraud just 2 days in. Several of the whistleblowers in Minnesota have also told lawmakers they believe the total amount of fraud could total up to more than $8 billion. Human Services is now pausing the issuing of new licenses for disability service providers over concerns of fraud after an explosion in the number of applications for new licenses over the past 5 years, going up 283%, while the number of people needing those services only increased by 25%. Governor Tim Walz, who is up for re-election, is under fire for all of this happening under his watch, but he says they have investigated every claim of fraud that's come in, something whistleblowers dispute, and says the state is taking the steps it needs to keep it from happening again.
We've acknowledged that this is serious, needs to stop. It is stopping. People are continuing to go to prison. I think the good news for Minnesotans to know, when that 90-day pause is over and the third-party audits are done, we will have a better picture than we've ever had, which I think is really good.
Okay, so let's zero in on the objective truths. We don't have to actually attack the people. We could just focus on the objective facts. Number one, individuals who have been indicted in this fraud scheme are the same individuals who donated not just $100 here or $100 there, but the max money you can donate in an election campaign to a multitude of politicians, from the governor down to Ilhan Omar. So that is a fact. It's also a fact that some of these people strong-armed whistleblowers, threatened them with their own lives if they didn't back down. That is a fact. And now it's a fact that I'm about to show you here on the screen that some of these fraudsters were actually taking photos with these same politicians. Just look at it for yourself. There it is. The governor, Ilhan Omar, Congresswoman, and the Secretary of State. The good news is the guy has been arrested. Take a listen.
The immigration judge in that Somali man's case denied his asylum request specifically because of the significant amount of fraud on his record. That was in 2004, but for some reason, Abdul Dahir Ibrahim was granted temporary protected status for 10 years, even after he had an order of removal. Altogether, DHS says it has arrested more than 12 individuals so far as part of its newly launched Operation Metro Surge in the Twin Cities. Those in arrest include 5 other Somalis, 2 of which have also been convicted of fraud.
ICE has already made dozens and dozens of arrests, including a convicted murderer, convicted gang members who have just been released back onto Minneapolis' streets to terrorize their people. And it's such a shame that Tim Walz and the mayor there turn a blind eye and are really complicit in what's happening to Minneapolis.
Okay, so I think this is safe to say, and this is according to Glenn Beck, and I'm in agreement here that Tim Walz is probably not medically retarded, but he is definitely politically retarded. I think that's fair to say at this point. Any governor who allows this community to run this type of fraud on autism, Medicaid, and food for children, yeah, that's a different level of retardedness, if that makes sense. Now, let's go to Dr. Oz, because this is in regards to the Medicaid fraud, and I guess his own response because he's in charge of the agency. Take a look.
It's true. A Somali fraud ring in Minnesota stole over $1 billion from Medicaid. How did this happen? Well, Medicaid programs are run by the states, which in Minnesota means the Tim Walz administration. Governor Walz and the state's other Democrats rely on Somali votes to get elected, so they decided to look the other way because they were afraid of, quote-unquote, political backlash. Don't take my word for it. That's what a Somali-American fraud investigator told the New York Times. When these scammers realized that nobody was guarding the cash register, they went gangbusters. One program designed to provide housing stabilization assistance to patients ballooned to $104 million, when 4 years ago it was projected to cost only $2.6 million. Some of these taxpayer funds may have even ended up in the hands of a Somalian terrorist group. Scary stuff. When CMS became aware of the housing program situation, Minnesota insisted it could clean up its own mess. A few months ago, it admitted it could not. So we stepped in to shut down the fraud-infested housing initiative. Today, we're taking action on more than a dozen other programs, which I've outlined in the post below. Our message to Walz is clear. Either fix this in 60 days or start looking under your couch for spare change, because we are done footing the bill for your incompetence.
Well, listen, that's a nice video from Dr. Oz, but can I be honest with you here for a second? Can they just go ahead and freeze the funding now? I mean, if you really want change, you got to do some radical things at certain points of time, and I think this is that time because these people aren't going to get right. We used to have this thing in the military called can't get right, all right? This is who Governor Tim Walz is. He can't get right. And so if we want change, we got to make a radical choice here. Now, some people are going to get hurt in the process. I am aware of that. I'm not naive, and they don't deserve to be hurt. But if you think that Minnesota is going to get right by us just asking them nicely, I think that is being a little naive. So yeah, freeze the funding. At any rate, here's what the governor had to say.
And in spite of the headwinds we're up against, Minnesota ranks economically, economic growth, happiness, number of people insured, education levels, near the very top. So I'll tell you what, I have no interest in having this state look like Oklahoma or Mississippi. And if folks are going to commit crimes here, thinking because our generous spirit and our programs that we have is going to give them some kind of cover, they are sadly mistaken.
I mean, clearly there's so much going on in our country, and that's why I have to deliver this urgent reminder. The Medicare enrollment period is ending soon. This means you have until December 7th to pick a plan for 2026. It's no secret that Medicare enrollment process is confusing, and I think it's on purpose because brokers are looking to make more money, which means you could potentially be on the wrong plan. Question, wouldn't it make sense to speak to a trusted advisor today? That's why I recommend you call Chapter. They're the only advisors that will compare every nationwide plan to make sure that you choose the right one. And they are results driven. They save people $1,100 a year. If you look in the comments section, you'll see that people are already thanking me for directing them to Chapter. They will help you. And the best part is their service is completely free and it only takes 20 minutes. And by the way, if you're already on a Medicare plan, they can look at it and make sure that it's good. And if it's not, they'll help you switch. So don't gamble with your Medicare coverage today. Call Chapter at 323-431-5200. Understand it's peak season, so you're going to want to call them first thing in the morning. That number again is 323-431-5200. Speak to a trusted advisor today. Well, I think the governor is sadly mistaken because now that he wants to be tough, nobody's going to believe him because he's naturally not tough. He doesn't enforce the laws like he is tough. I mean, these are not people who actually believe in law and order. So to think that the Somalia community or these fraudsters are all of a sudden going to take him seriously, he is sadly mistaken. And he's got another problem on his hands. Whistleblowers continue to say that the governor knew.
The whistleblowers that I've spoken to are saying that the governor knew, and the governor and Lieutenant Governor and even Chris Schmitter, who was his chief of staff, came to them as staff and scolded them for pointing out fraud.
So I believe we've said this and we'll say it again. If nobody is convicted, and I'm talking about people who serve in the actual chain of command or is in a political position that oversees some of these contracts, things of that nature, anybody who worked for the state or the city, if none of these people are actually indicted and convicted, then we all know that at the end of the day, this is just a waste of time. And this is on the DOJ because some of these charges will be federal indictments. So we'll see how that all shakes out. Let's go to New Orleans because we now have an update. Protesters are starting to grow in numbers because of the mass deportation operation underway there. And some of it is just purely entertainment, in my opinion. Why don't we start with this lady who put this sign in front of her house thinking it's going to make a difference? Take a look.
Other people are doing other things to protest here in the city of New Orleans. Take a look at this other video. A woman, a homeowner, posted a giant sign in front of her house that says, "Immigrants make America great." Here's what she had to say. Take a listen.
I think if someone's a conservative, that the immigrant community is everything that they pretend to value. Immigrants are people that pull themselves up by their bootstraps and start small businesses and are thrifty and save and care about their families and their communities. And they're good people. And I don't know why they're taking the blame for what people see as like shortcomings in their own lives.
As for the arrests that have been made so far here in New Orleans, DHS issued out a press release that had the names and mugshots of several individuals who they allege have criminal backgrounds. But Chris, there has been no full accounting of all of the individuals who have been arrested here in the city. We, of course, will be asking for that information.
Okay, so let's just address the merits of what she was arguing here, that immigrants are inherently conservative. They hold conservative values. There's only one problem, though. If you're talking about illegal aliens, they clearly violated the principle called the rule of law. Okay, so if you cross the border illegally, it doesn't matter how hard you work, you should get deported. I mean, that's just the bottom line to it. A person who works just as hard as you and actually entered the country legally, they should be rewarded. So I don't know where they were going with that. And immigrants is definitely have been a part of the history of our country. There's no question about that. I have no problem with immigrants. I just have a problem with the ones who are here illegally. Okay. Now here's Greg Bovino and his response.
We just had video of that protest that took place here in New Orleans. Your reaction to seeing that video?
Sure, Joe. As far as that video is concerned, I don't understand why those protesters seem to choose illegal aliens, criminals, bad people, and bad things over American citizens. We were there just a few hours before that protest, walking the streets of New Orleans, and it was very interesting that the residents of New Orleans were really happy we were there. Everything from giving us tips to take a look at, to giving us a thumbs up and saying, hey, we're really glad you're here. So perhaps the protesters should talk to their own citizens before protesting.
You know, every time we have to talk about this, I'm always left with the same conclusion. If I were in their shoes, I'd be telling the elected representatives to just collaborate with ICE so we don't have to see Border Patrol agents, come into our neighborhoods and show up unannounced, and just coordinate with them. Hand over these criminals. When you do arrest them, don't release them back into the community. Keep Border Patrol agents busy with that stuff, right? It's just common sense. Now, not only do you have people protesting, you have people supporting it, but what about the businesses? Well, some of them are actually closing their doors and warning people about ICE, and even saying that ICE is not welcome in their establishment. Take a look.
Are concerned. The business behind me, this is one of the businesses that decided to shut down. They're trying to avoid the situation with any of their employees or anybody who would come in the front door. If you look right here, Becky, if you want to show you this, look how they put this up. Everyone is welcome except ICE. And then here, they made it pretty clear. They want all the agents who are here to stop at the door, especially if they do not have a warrant.
Listen, they have the right to put up signs like that, okay? Just like they have the right to, refuse to serve or have their business open to people they don't want to do business with. That's all fine and dandy. But if they start harboring, obviously, illegal aliens, they should get in trouble. See, this is the part that I'm still trying to wrap my head around. ICE is spending so much time, obviously, tracking these people down. But what about the businesses that have been encouraging this, enabling this, hiding these type of people? I mean, you think you'd go after them. I guess we'll see what happens next year. But in the meantime, here is another resident of New Orleans. This time, she's not just protesting with a sign. She's protesting with her baby. Take a look.
Your last name is Bovino. Your ancestors came from Italy. Probably fleeing violence, just like so many of our neighbors flee violence. Where they're from.
You see? This is a baby. You have to get out of here. Right now. You have to get out of the park. You cannot be here. That's impossible. And you have a heart? What's wrong with you? This is impossible. Look at the baby. You have to get out of here. Right now. I come in to play with her. Look at you with guns over here. That's impossible. Look at, she clapped me because she knows this is wrong.
All right, guys. I mean, listen, the baby's a little uncomfortable because the woman holding the baby is screaming all of a sudden. I mean, it's an energy thing, but fine. Obviously, people are disturbed. I would say she is disturbed at the idea of seeing ICE agents or Border Patrol agents at these parks because they know some illegal aliens like to traffic these parks. Okay, fine. Now, let's go to Arizona, where the new representative that was sworn in, she was caught on camera lying about what took place. So an immigration raid was conducted. Protesters came out. She alleges that ICE deployed tear gas and started assaulting the protesters, etc. And the video footage says otherwise. But before we show you the video footage, why don't we hear from the representative herself? Take a listen.
Hi, it's Adelita Grijalva. We just came up on a community that was protecting their people. We had, I would say, maybe 40 ICE agents, most of them masked, in several vehicles that the community had stopped right here, right in the middle of the street, because they were afraid that they were taking people without due process, without any kind of notice. And so I was here. This is like the restaurant I come to literally once a week, and was sprayed in the face by a very aggressive agent, pushed around by others. When I literally was not being aggressive, I was asking for clarification, which is my right as a member of Congress. So once introduced myself, once I did, I assumed that it would be a little calmer, but there was literally only one person that was trying to speak to me in any kind of civil tone, and everyone else was being rude and disrespectful. And I just can only imagine if they're gonna treat me like that, how they're treating everybody else. So we saw it. We saw people directly sprayed, members of our press, everybody that was with me, my staff member, myself, 2 staff members we have like remnants of whatever they sprayed on us. Excuse me, it's bothering me. And I think that this is one of the problems, the biggest problem that we have in this community. Okay,
so lesson number 1 for the Congresswoman: don't lie about getting pepper sprayed. Don't do the whole stolen valor stuff. Okay, you're not going to score points by acting like you were in the thick of it all, right? But this is what she decided to do. She said that she was pepper sprayed. She says the people that were with her assistants or her aides, were pepper sprayed. Keep that in your mind. As I show you the video footage, if you're watching the screen, you saw the statement from Tricia McLaughlin, which said she wasn't pepper sprayed. There was another agitator who was. She was just in the area, but she was not pepper sprayed. Okay, why don't you guys watch the video clip for yourself?
Watch out, watch out. Back up. Hey, put it down. Back up. Put it down.
You guys need to calm down and get out. You need to get out. You need to get out.
Get out out of the way.
Okay, so you know what I see in that video? She's obstructing. I see her agitating. I see her disrupting, okay? Now, she may not have done anything illegal, but she was just sworn in. Don't you have some pieces of legislation that you should be introducing? Don't you think you should start getting results, you know, instead of playing games like this in the streets? I mean, this is getting you nowhere. There's no return on investment doing things like this. Okay, we see what happened with Michelle McGliver. We see what happened with Representative McGliver, who's been indicted for putting her hands on an agent in New Jersey. It's all a distraction at the end of the day, but she believes she was pepper sprayed and that ICE is out of control. I guess you'll have to make up your mind on who you believe is out of control. And why don't you let me know in the comment section below. Now, I think this next clip sums it all up and what's actually happening in New Orleans and the support that Greg Bovino has. Take a look at this.
And
all right, good stuff.
Hey,
thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. We got the Coca-Cola. One?
Oh, she got her right there. Can I get you?
Yes, ma'am. You sure can. What's your name?
Darnell.
Darnell. Hey, can you get Darnell? Can you give Darnell a picture? I remember on Fridays, and you guys can put this in the press all you want. Fridays, I'll do a double energy drink on Fridays. So there's a big secret for our success in all these Title 8 immigration operations. Double energy drink on Fridays.
Will there be operations tomorrow and Sunday?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Every day.
Okay, so let's get your thoughts in the comment section below. Why don't we start with your thoughts regarding the Somalian who's been arrested, okay? This is the same guy who was taking pictures with Ilhan Omar and the governor, the secretary of state, and a congresswoman. Also, the fact that some of these people, their election campaigns, receive donations from people like this criminal. What do you guys make of all of that? I really want to get your guys' thoughts. I just find that to be interesting. Also, what do you make of the protesters coming out of New Orleans, believing that illegal aliens they should be here? They deserve to be here. They're just like all of us, including people who are conservative. I don't think entering the country illegally would make you a conservative. I think that violates principles. But you guys let me know how you feel about everything. Just put your thoughts and everything you got in the comment section below. All right, so next video. Democrats are left scrambling after a new report showing gas has reached a new record low. This is dating all the way back to 2020, which is an interesting win for the Trump administration, given all of the concerns regarding the economy. But you guys are going to have to hear it for yourself regarding Hakeem Jeffries, because he continues to be delusional. So if you guys missed out on that update and more, all you have to do is click on that video because it's coming up right now.